It has often been said that the journey is just as important as the destination. It's always about the anticipation, isn't it? When you're flying into a city you've never traveled to before, one minute it's all clouds, and then the next you get that first glimpse. Madeira, even though it's part of Portugal, seems so far away from the mainland. After a 90-minute flight, we see the string of islands. Then, the signs of inhabitants, the cluster of tiled roofs, a traditional architecture style. Because I am an island girl, having grown up on the tropical islands of Taiwan and Hawaii, arriving in Madeira was a bit like a homecoming for me. I found a lot of commonalities between Madeira and the islands where I grew up. For example, at our first meal, we were introduced to the English tomato, which has the texture of a tomato but the flavor of passion fruit. I knew I was definitely on a tropical island. The capital city of Funchal is named after fennel due to the abundance of wild fennel found on the island. Take note of the city's beautiful architecture and design, like this very modern cobblestone pattern. Funchal is a small city with just over 100,000 inhabitants, compared to Lisbon with a population of 3 million, but the streets were buzzing with sidewalk cafes. And when we got to the Chupana Hills Resort and Spa, I was reminded of Strawberry Hill in Jamaica. Both hotels perch high up in the mountains, and the drive up will make you feel like you are in a Bond assignment. The views are cinematic too. The local cuisine abounds with seafood. Here is a dish that highlights the Madeiran flavors: warm carpaccio of octopus with paprika olive oil and a Caesar salad with passion fruit sauce. Prior to visiting Madeira, I had assumed all Madeira wines were sweet with little acidity. I could never see it as a food accompaniment nor a refreshing aperitif. At our first Madeira house, Justino's, we learned some key points that help reconstruct my image and idea of Madeira. In total, there are 9 Madeira producers on the island. Shocking, isn't it? Justino's is the biggest Madeira house, representing close to 50% of the total production of Madeira. Here, we start to taste the range of Madeiras. Right off the bat, I was set straight on my misconception that all Madeiras are sweet. 2 of the lightest styles of Madeiras, Social and Verdelho, are quite dry. The gorgeous acidity of the wine makes it a perfect food wine, and since these wines can age, literally forever, you will find yourself drinking wines from the early 1900s or 1800s without even blinking your eyes. Social is the driest style and an ideal aperitif, and it can age too. Here we were having a 1984 Social from Blandy's, almost 30 years old. Here is Blandy's radiant winemaker. Blandy's is still family owned, as most of the houses are. Dapper Chris Blandy is at the helm today. A drink on the terrace of the Grand Reed's Palace, operated by the Orient Express, is a must, followed by a dinner of sautéed duck frogva with banana compote and passion fruit sauce. Roasted banana is commonly paired with the local fish and a glass of Madeira, a winning combination. On this island, there are at least 5 different types of passion fruits, and also a cross between a pineapple and banana, simply called the pineapple banana. It's rather exotic looking. You can see the parentage clearly. At the fish market, I saw some of the ugliest fish I've ever seen in my life, but according to the locals, the ugliest one is the tastiest one. The black scarbar fish is extremely long too. At Barbeto, we continue our discovery of the mythical Madeira wine, and we're truly wowed by Ricardo, the 3rd generation owner of his family's winery. He works with about 140 growers to obtain his grapes. It's amazing how many growers each Madeira wineries work with. Most growers own very, very small parcels of the very steep and hilly land. Also historically, big parcels were divided among several growers by the landlords. We were so touched when Ricardo shared with us a bottle that his mother had sent him, a Malvasia from 1875. My notes read, "Wow, explosion on the nose. First impression was of soy sauce. That savory, rustic, intense umami profile jumps right out." I have to share with you some of the scenery so you can get a sense of how gorgeous the views were. This was the view from Barbeto, which is high up in the mountains, and then we drove to the north coast of the island. On our way, this was a typical landscape with the tile roofs dotting the mountainside. This is the famous Bridal Veil Falls on the north coast. Given the abundance of local fruits, Madeira's gotta have some good cocktails, right? Vendavella, a poncha bar, was the answer. Concha is a drink made with the local sugarcane liquor and fruit juice. I adored my English tomato version. And I continued to discover local crustaceans I've never had before, like this clam in a butter sauce. On our last day, we spent a memorable morning at De Oliveira's, where we tasted some of the most impressive older Madeiras. This reputable house is known for their jaw-dropping library wines. On a side note, if you visit this house, you must not leave without at least a few of their sugarcane cakes. No matter what you do, don't miss them. Some highlights were a 1969 Social, proving you can even age the driest style of Madeira, a 1927 Bastardo, a variety rarely now seen, a 1907 Malvasia, blacker than molasses, that to die for intense balsamic character, a 1900 Muscatel, another variety you hardly see now, and the oldest wine we tasted in Madeira, a 1850 Verdelho. This is a monumental wine. It's the oldest wine the winery still possesses, and it's still so youthful and intact. And that's Madeira for you.